Is anyone else fucking exhausted from this week? Me too. Spooky Sunday dinners, spooky Sunday dinners, spooky Sunday dinners. I still can't afford a theme song. Hi guys, for those of you that don't know, my name is Johnny Taylor and this is Spooky Sunday Dinners, where every Sunday, every other Sunday, when I'm late Monday, don't worry, the Thursday's coming, we talk about a true crime case that I just really want to fucking talk about while we make a fairly easy recipe. So if true crime, cooking, and dark humor is your thing, you might want to hit that subscribe button below. All right, let's talk about it. It's been a hard week. You know what I mean. No matter what side you're on. The memes are kind of helping me through it though. Ha 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 ha. But really, it's been a really fucking long, hard week, and I think we all deserve a really easy meal to make and a quick crime to fucking talk about. You know what time it is. It's Karen disclaimer time. Look, at this point, I'm used to it. Karen disclaimer number 1. These are not professional recipes. I don't have the nutritional facts and they're not really for nutritional value. It's just what I feel like making that day. So if you make this and you don't like it, or you fuck up and get sick, it's not my fault, Karen. I don't even know how you fuck these up. They are so easy. Again, not professional. Barely scraping mediocre this week. Karen disclaimer number 2. This is spooky Sunday dinners. Emphasis on spooky. We talk about true crime, murder, disease, and fucked up shit while we sprinkle a nice little dash of comedy on top, because that's how I cope with being obsessed with something so fucking dark, you guys. If that offends you in any way, shape, or form, makes you want to call, text, email, or DM me telling me how terrible of a person I am, get in line. You can't hurt me, Karen. I feel nothing. This week, we are going to be talking about a case I learned a lot of people don't know about. It's a little bit shorter than usual, and I know we all love long serial killer stories with big dramatic endings, but how about for once we just do a fucking one-off, crazy-ass fucking thing? That's why this week, we will be talking about one of my all-time favorite fucked up true crime cases, the Greyhound bus cannibal. Yes, while we talk about the Greyhound bus cannibal, we are going to be making a super fucking easy pasta dish. If there's any week to just eat a fuck ton of pasta, it's now, while you contemplate your future. This week, we will be making a vegan-friendly Alfredo. I know. How? Well, Karen, let's talk about it. Traditionally, Alfredo does not have any cream in the sauce. The sauce only has 2 ingredients, so this week's recipe is going to be short and sweet, while the murder we talk about is short, but not sweet. Savory? That's fucked up. All right, let's get into what we're going to be using this week. It will also obviously be listed down below in the description. This is just so you don't get mad at me. Pasta of your choice. This week, I will be going in with some spaghetti. You can use whatever you want, penne, fettuccine. I'm not going to judge you. A fuck ton of butter. I'm going to be using Earth Balance, and I have about 5 tablespoons ready to go. A fuck ton of cheese. This week I will be using half a block of that Vio Life Parmesan cheese, grated pretty finely. And finally, for our seasonings this week, salt. That's it. So the first thing I have is a pot of water on the stove. We're going to bring that to a boil and make sure this week you heavily salt it. We need the seasoning in that pasta to make sure this Alfredo is Alfredo-y. Now, while we wait for that water to come to a boil, let's get into this fucking story, you guys. So, our story starts with a man by the name of Tim McLean. Tim was born October 3rd, 1985 in British Columbia, and he grew up just outside of Winnipeg. He was known for being super outgoing and friendly. I mean, this guy could make friends absolutely anywhere. It was super easy for him. I don't know what that's like, but he's just the kind of guy. Never met a stranger, loves to talk, loves to get to know people, ask how their day has been. Just think total opposite of me. So when Tim is around 22 years old, one of his friends hits him up and is like, hey man, I have a job opportunity for you. The job opportunity is actually working at a traveling carnival. What starts out as a short-term job turns into a whole summer-long shindig, and he absolutely loves it. So working for like a carnival makes you feel like you're in a very kind of like family environment. You're traveling together, you're working together, you're around each other 24/7. Sounds great. Besides the rides where people die. But during this time, Tim actually has a girlfriend back home that is pregnant. So he's gonna make a bunch of money traveling with this carnival. Life is gonna be great. Spoiler alert, that's never how it works out. So at this time, the carnival is actually going to be traveling from Edmonton to Regina, and Tim thought that this was the perfect opportunity to head back home to pack up his things so he could eventually move to British Columbia. Now, back home for him at this time, like we said, was Winnipeg. This was going to be a 24-hour bus ride. Because of this, his kind of like carnival family offers to purchase him a plane ticket. And he's like, no guys, I can do this. I can do it on my own. He politely declined and set off on his bus. This is where, on July 30th, 2008, bus 1170 to Winnipeg starts its 24-hour journey. And everything is going really well, super normal. At 6:55 p.m., the bus stops in Erickson, Manitoba, and picks up a new passenger by the name of Vince Lee. So, Vince Lee was born April 30th, 1968 in China. He ended up moving to Canada in June of 2001. He went to college in Canada and graduated in 2002 with a computer programming degree. He did have a history of working with computer programming in China, but when he came overseas, he got his degree and thought the work field was going to be super easy for him to enter. Unfortunately, it wasn't, and Vince had a lot of random odd jobs and wasn't really successful in his field. He did end up getting married, and Vince had a really hard time with his language barrier. It was hard for him to learn English, and he would become so frustrated trying to communicate with people at his jobs, his bosses. But one of his bosses did go on to say that although he was frustrated and angry, he was never once aggressive. He did increasingly get more frustrated as time went on because of his inability to find a job and to communicate, and it was just not going well for him. He later was diagnosed with schizophrenia that was going to end up going untreated. He ended up divorcing his wife at this time. What's interesting is that he left a note for his ex-wife before leaving. This note said, "I'm gone. Don't look for me. I wish you were happy." You're going to realize later that doing that dramatically was in bad taste, but I don't give a fuck. So later, our friend Vince leaves on a bus that takes him to that bus stop in Erickson. He waits overnight at that bus stop, and a witness says that he sees Vince sitting at the bench of the bus stop with like crazy eyes at like 3 in the morning, acting really weird, like sitting straight up, not sleeping. He actually got to that bus stop with 3 pieces of luggage. As the night went on, he went on to start selling pieces of his luggage. This included his personal belongings, his computer, and he was just trying to get rid of it and get some money, which is still for unknown reasons. Maybe he needed money. But the bus 1170 comes to that bus stop, and Vince gets on. He starts out sitting at the front of the bus. Tim is already on this bus and sitting at the way back of the bus, headphones in, kind of keeping to himself. He's got a long trip ahead, trying to get some sleep. Normal bus shit. Our water has come to a boil. We're just gonna throw the pasta in and continue with this fuckery. So everyone's on the bus and everything is going according to plan. The bus hits its next rest stop and Tim gets off the bus to kind of have a smoke, stretch his legs. Everyone does this. I was on a bus once in my life and did this. Don't worry, we'll get into that story later. But everything goes according to plan and Tim gets back on the bus, goes back to his seat at the back of the bus. This is when Vince goes to get back on the bus, and instead of going to the seat he was in, he walks to the back of the bus and decides to sit in the empty seat next to Tim. Of course, we know Tim's past, extremely kind. He goes ahead and asks Vince like, "Hi, how are you? Go ahead, sit down, nice to meet you," and then puts his headphones in, tries to go to sleep. Now, this is when, out of completely nowhere, around 8:30 p.m., passengers on the bus report hearing a blood-curdling scream coming from the back of the bus. Witnesses said that when they turned around, Vince had pulled out a machete and started stabbing Tim. Now, Tim was sleeping. This came out of completely nowhere and didn't really have time to fight back immediately. Took him by surprise. Nobody really knows what happened. So with Tim having absolutely no time to react, he tries his best to fight Vince off. He has no idea what's happening or who really is attacking him. In the fight, Tim ends up on the floor of the bus. Now, Tim trying to get up and get around Vince and do things is almost impossible. If you've ever been on a bus like this is a Greyhound bus, and the seats kind of come out. There's no way to get over or in between the seats. Once you're in the back of the bus, you're fucking stuck there. Don't sit at the back of the bus. Don't get on a bus. Don't leave your home. This is when the bus driver, his name is Bruce, obviously pulls over the bus and gets everyone off the bus. Bruce stays on the bus to try to reason with Vince, get him off of Tim, and do everything that he can. As he is approaching Vince, I guess this is where Vince starts channeling Michael Myers. I don't know. But he slowly looks up at Bruce, machete in hand, and starts fucking horror movie walking toward the bus driver. This is when Bruce, the bus driver, makes a very good decision by saying, "Hey, fuck all the way off, I'ma leave," and runs his ass off the bus. Luckily, as he gets off the bus, he starts barricading the door, and our friend Vince cannot get out. Unfortunately, Tim is left inside the bus at this time, and nobody really knows or understands his condition. The police were called, but because they were already like a couple hours into the trip, the police were at least an hour away. A truck driver sees some shit going down on the side of the road with all of the passengers like outside the bus looking like they're clearly in distress and very disturbed. So he pulls over and gets the 411 on what's going on, you know, the T, if you will. So he goes and helps barricade the door with him. This is when Vince is trying to get out. Luckily, they keep him from getting out. Another Greyhound bus even arrives, and that bus driver is like, "Okay guys, I'm going on this bus. I'm gonna help this guy out." So he gets on the bus, tries to stop Vince. Vince is like fighting him off, and at one point yells, "Get emergency," while he's still stabbing Tim. This bus driver from the second Greyhound bus kind of looks down at what's going on and notices that Vince is starting to escalate and decapitate Tim. The bus driver runs and makes it off the bus. Everything is escalating so quickly that they make sure to engage the emergency immobilizer system. So there's no chance that Vince can start the bus and leave. This is a system that Greyhound buses have, so if someone tries to steal the bus, something happens, it's like a, I don't know, like a button or some shit, but you hit it and you can't start the bus. Vince is continuing to escalate at this point and just losing his fucking mind, you guys. It's said that he is, quote, defiling Tim's body. This means that he's poking his eyes out, cutting things off, just doing really weird shit that is scaring the passengers that are outside of the bus, but like, you can't look away from that. So because of this, Vince goes into performative mode. This is when, while he's pacing up and down the bus, he starts to take body parts off of Tim and eat them in front of everybody. Taking bites of flesh, popping fingers in his mouth like popcorn. He's also showing off the various body parts as he's pacing, holding them up like to the window, then taking bites out of them. I don't like it. This is when Vince decides to actually pick up Tim's head and walk around the bus holding his head by the hair, showing off what he did. I don't know. I wasn't there. They also see that Vince has Tim's nose, ears, and tongue in his pockets. I don't know, maybe it was like a snack for later. While he's escalating, Vince goes on to yell, "I will be on this bus forever." Sure, Jan. Our pasta is done. We're gonna go ahead and reserve a bit of pasta water. Always save your pasta water. And drain it and get ready to make this sauce. Now, the really cool thing about this sauce is that you actually don't cook it at all. We're gonna go ahead and throw this spaghetti into a cold pan while we slowly add the butter and cheese. You're gonna wanna get 2 pairs of tongs, 2 forks, whatever utensils you have, and continuously have a lot of movement and massage in the butter and cheese with this pasta until you have your creamy sauce. So police do get to the scene eventually, and they are accompanied by some, quote, expert negotiators. Now, with the way this is escalating, I'm not really sure what you're gonna negotiate with this dude. Like, hey, we got some barbecue human nuggies out here. At this point, if the cannibal jokes offend you, I can't help you. I know something's wrong with me. So around 10 p.m., these stranded passengers that have been watching this happen, it's reported that they're crying, vomiting, like the whole thing is really bad. And they've been sitting on the side of the road for hours. They are finally taken in to be interviewed by the Brandon RCMP detachment. So I looked it up, and this is basically like Canada's form of the FBI. And this is who, is going to investigate this whole shit show from, whatever it is. That is when on July 21st, 2008 at 1:20 a.m., Vince breaks the back window of the bus. He throws out some random belongings along with some of the weapons he was using and then attempts to escape. And apparently he thinks that he can make a run for it, All that human meat is really just giving him the strength that he needs to run from law enforcement. The officers obviously immediately tase him twice and take him into custody. They do get the ears, nose, and tongue out of his pockets, so he cannot consume those later. When they get onto the bus, they find that Vince has just taken trash bags and filled them with various parts of Tim's body. This means that they can obviously clearly assess that Vince was cutting up this man's body, eating the parts that he wanted to, and then just throwing the rest in doggy bags. So they can also assess based on the body parts that are left on the bus in those bags and based on what Vince is saying that he did consume Tim's eyeballs and a part of his heart, because clearly we have entered a Rob Zombie movie. At 10 a.m., a Greyhound bus, representatives, go ahead and take those passengers to a local, Walmart, Kmart situation to get them replacement, like clothes, shoes, because they were covered in blood, or their clothes that were on the bus were covered in blood. And they were just like, hey, how about Walmart pants? They then go ahead and put them on a bus to Winnipeg to be reunited with their friends and family, which, that's what you do after going through the most traumatic thing that could ever happen to you on a bus, literally ever. So fast forward, and Vince Lee's trial starts on March 3rd, 2009, and clearly he tries to plead not criminally responsible. So what this means is he takes responsibility for what was done and recognizes that it was done, but says that because he was not in the right mindset, he cannot be held criminally responsible because it's like someone else did it. Someone else entered his brain and did it. So when they ask him, did you do this? He's like, oh yeah, I'm that bitch, but not my fault. So Vince basically explains, hey guys, I'm loco, and here's what went down. When I got on the bus, I heard voices as soon as I sat down, and the voices told him that he was in danger. This is when he sat next to Tim, and as soon as Tim asked how he was doing, this is when Vince said the voice of God came down and told Vince if he did not kill Tim right then and there, that he, Vince, would die immediately. So what does all of this mean for the trial in Canada? Well, ladies and gentlemen, get ready to be pissed. Vince was charged with second-degree murder, but was found not criminally responsible because he had been previously diagnosed with schizophrenia and he wasn't taking his meds. I'll give you a moment to process. He ate a man. So this means instead of him going to a normal prison, he's going to go to a secure mental hospital. And because he went to a mental hospital, they're able to kind of regulate his meds, teach him how to live in society. And around 2015, 2016, our friend Vince Lee was discharged. Don't worry, I'm mad too. Obviously, this pissed off a lot of people. And while I love the idea of reform, I don't think that Vince was exactly the right example of what we need to do. You know, because like, he ate a man. Vince did get out and is actually going under the name and did legally change his name to Will Baker. Do with that info what you will. And obviously, passengers on this bus have struggled with some severe PTSD. One woman who gave birth shortly after being on that bus ended up losing her child for about 18 months because her PTSD was so severe she could not care for her child. Two women tried to actually file a lawsuit against Greyhound buses, the RCMP, and the Canadian government, but unfortunately that lawsuit was later dropped. And also, in 2014, one of the first responding officers on the scene did commit suicide. His family did cite that he was suffering horribly from PTSD from the moment this incident happened. I am choosing not to say this officer's name to kind of give his family some peace and not associate them with this case. Now, remember Tim had that pregnant girlfriend back home? Well, 5 months after the murder on December 21st, 2008, she gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Unfortunately, Tim's family just could not catch a break, and they did have a very messy, very intense custody battle because the mother was not fit to raise this child. And now Tim's mother and her new husband, his stepfather, are raising that child, and he is doing well. They were granted guardianship in 2016. So I've been, quote, massaging this pasta for quite some time now, and we do have like a creamy sauce happening. It's not a super thick sauce, but it is creamy and delicious, I promise. Let's go ahead and plate this and finish up our story. So with this one, I really want us to have a conversation about it in the comments. I want to know what you think. Have you even ever heard of this case before? Because a lot of people haven't, and this is kind of a big one. I will say that it does go on record that Greyhound did not attempt to help any of these passengers with their issues with PTSD, and that kind of pisses me off. Like, is that really okay? Do you guys think that Vince should have been incarcerated? Do you believe in the reform happening in Canada? I don't fucking know. This is wild. Will you ever take a bus again? Because I will not. And let me tell you guys, make this. It's buttery, it's perfect, it's creamy. You can put shrimp in this, you can put chicken in this. Make this. But back to the story. I will say that I took a bus for the first time last year on New Year's when I took a plane to Oregon and it wouldn't land. And my friends and I were on the bus and everything was going well. And at the rest stop, we had 26 people on the bus. After the rest stop, when they did the count on the road, we had 27 people on the bus. Now let me tell you, the only thing going through my mind at this point was that he's back, the Greyhound bus cannibal. Part 2. This is how it's gonna happen. So please understand that this story I could have lived it. Thank you guys for cooking with me today. Thank you for letting me tell you this insane fucking story. I know today was a little bit shorter, a little bit more chill, but this recipe is really good. I would highly recommend making it for your family. Unwind, have some pasta, and don't forget to comment below future crimes you want me to cover. Maybe some recipes you want me to try, and your thoughts on this case. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and yeah. Honestly, like, good luck with this week. I'm sorry. Thank you for watching Spooky Sunday Dinners. I am still singing. I still can't afford a theme song. But like, will Will Baker find me? I'm going to emotionally eat all of this, cry, and not tell Doug I made it.